Hey guys, it's me. It's been a while, and I thought that it'll be a perfect day to read you guys a bedtime story. And since it's Christmas, obviously this is going to be a Christmas story. So, I went online and I pulled up a story because, let's be honest, who reads books nowadays? Well, not to offend anyone, because I know there are plenty of you guys who still read books, but I just happen to like to read ebooks. Now, anyways, back to the point. I pulled up a story on my tablet, and it's called Christmas Day in the Morning, and it's by the author Pearl S. Buck. And supposedly, this story has won Pulitzer Prize, which this better be a damn good story. Anyways, let's go ahead and jump right in, and feel free to get cozy and wrap yourself in a blanket and relax and enjoy. Christmas Day in the Morning by Pearl S. Buck. He woke suddenly and completely. It was 4 o'clock, the hour at which his father had always called him to get up and help with the milking. Strange how the habits of his youth clung to him. 50 years ago, and his father had been dead for 30 years. And yet, he waked at 4 o'clock in the morning every single day. He had trained himself to turn over and go to sleep, but this morning, it was Christmas. He did not try to sleep. Why did he feel so awake tonight? He slipped back in time, as he did so easily nowadays. He was 15 years old and still on his father's farm. He loved his father. He had not known it until one day, a few Christmas before, when he had overheard what his father was saying to his mother. "Mary, I hate to cob Rob in the mornings. He's growing so fast, and he needs his sleep. If you could see how he sleeps when I go in to wake him up, oh, I wish I could manage alone." "Well, you can't, Adam." His mother's voice was brisk. "Besides, he isn't a child anymore. It's time he took his turn." "Yes," his father said slowly, "but I sure do hate to wake him up every morning." When he heard these words, something inside of him spoke. His father had loved him. He had never thought of that before, taking for granted the tie of their blood. Neither his father nor his mother talked about loving their children. They had no time for such things. There was always so much to do on the farm. Now that he knew his father loved him, there would be no loitering in the mornings and having to be called again. He got up right after that, stumbling blindly in his sleep, and pulled on his clothes, his eyes still shut, but he got up. And then, on the night before Christmas, that year when he was 15, he lay for a few minutes, thinking about the next day. They were poor, and most of the excitement was in the turkey they had raised themselves and mince pies his mother would make. His sisters sewed presents, and his mother and father always bought him something he needed, not only a warm jacket, maybe, but something more, such as a book. He had saved and bought them each something too. He wished that Christmas, when he was 15, he had a better present for his father. As usual, he had gone to the 10-cent store and bought his father a tie. It had seemed nice enough until he lay thinking the night before Christmas. He looked out of his attic window. The stars were bright. "Dad," he had once asked when he was a little boy, "what is a stable?" "It's just a barn," his father had replied. "Like ours." Then Jesus had been born in a barn, and to a barn the shepherds had come. The thought struck to him like a silver dagger. Why should he not give his father a special gift too? Out there in the barn, he could get up early, earlier than 4 o'clock, and he could creep into the barn and get all the milking done. He'd done it alone, milk and clean up, and then when his father went in to start the milking, he had seen it all been done, and he would know who had done it. He laughed to himself as he gazed at the stars. It was what he would do, and he must not sleep too sound. He must have waked 20 times, scratching a match to look each time to look at his old watch. Midnight, and 1:30, and then 2 o'clock. At 2:45, he got up and put on his clothes. He crept downstairs silently, careful of the creaky boards, and let himself out. The cows looked at him, sleepy and surprised. It was early for them too. He had never milked all alone before, but it seemed almost easy enough. He kept thinking about his father's surprise. His father would come in and get him, saying that he would get things started while Rob was getting dressed. He would go to the barn, open the door, and then he'd go get the 2 big empty milk cans. But they wouldn't be waiting there empty. They'd be standing in the milk house, filled. "What the?" he could hear his father exclaiming. He smiled and milked steadily, 2 strong streams rushing into the pail, frothing and fragrant. The task went more easily than he had ever known it to go before. Milking for once was not a chore. It was something else, a gift to his father who loved him. He finished. The 2 milk cans were full, and he covered them and closed the milk house door carefully, making sure of the latch. Back in his room, he had only a minute to pull off his clothes in the darkness and jump into bed, for he heard his father up. He put the covers over his head to silence his quick breathing. The door opened. "Rob," his father called. "We have to get up, son, even if it's Christmas." "All right," he said sleepily. The door closed and he lay still, laughing to himself. In just a few minutes, his father would know. His dancing heart was ready to jump from his body. The minutes were endless. 10, 15, he did not know how many, and he heard his father's footsteps again. The door opened, and he laid still. "Rob." "Yes, Dad?" His father was laughing, a queer, sobbing sort of laugh. "You thought you'd fool me, did you?" His father was standing by his bed, feeling for him, pulling away the covers. "It's for Christmas, Dad." He found his father and clutched him in a great big hug. He felt his father's arm go around him. It was dark, and they could not see each other's faces. "Son, I thank you so much. Nobody ever did a nicer thing. Oh, Dad, I want you to know. I do want to be God." The words broke from him of their own will. He did not know what to say. His heart was bursting with love. He got up and pulled on his clothes again, and they went down to the Christmas tree. Oh, what a Christmas! And how his heart had nearly burst again with shyness and pride as his father told his mother and made the younger children listen about how he, Rob, had got up all by himself. The best Christmas gift I ever had, and I'll remember it, son, every Christmas morning so long as I live. They had both remembered it, and now that his father was dead, he remembered it alone. That blessed Christmas dawn when, alone with the cows in the barn, he had made his first gift of true love. This Christmas, he wanted to write a card to his wife and tell her how much he loved her. It had been a long time since he had really told her. Although he loved her in a very special way, much more than he had ever had when they were young, he had been fortunate that she had loved him. Ah, that was the true joy of love, the ability to love. Love was still alive in him. It still was. It occurred to him suddenly that it was alive because long ago it had been born in him when he knew his own father loved him. That was it. Love alone could awaken love, and he could give the gift again and again. This morning, this blessed Christmas morning, he would give it to his beloved wife. He could write it down in a letter for her to read and keep and cherish forever. He went to his desk and began his love letter to his wife. My dearest love. The end. Okay, so we're not done yet. I have one more short poem to tell off to you guys, and this one is titled 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. Now, I'm sure most of you have heard of this short poem, and it's an all-time Christmas classic. So if you haven't heard of it, then, well, here's your chance. Alright, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. 'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads, and Mamma in her kerchief and I in my cap had just settled our brains for a long winter's nap. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprang from the bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow gave the lustre of midday to objects below, when what to my wondering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer, with a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be Saint Nick. More rapid than eagles his courses may come, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donder and Blitzen, to the top of the porch, to the top of the wall. Now dash away, and dash away all. As dry leaves that before the wild hurricane flies, when they meet with an obstacle mount to the sky, so up to the housetop the coursers they flew, with the sleigh full of toys and Saint Nicholas too. And then in a twinkling I heard on the roof the prancing and prancing of little hoofs. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed all in fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples, how merry, his cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard of his chin was as white as snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work, and filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk, and laying his finger aside of his nose, and giving a nod up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim, as he drove out of sight, "Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night." A classic, right? Alright, well, that's all the stories that I have for you tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed it and had a great time, and most importantly, I hope I helped you relax and ease to some deep sleep. Now, a quick question. What is your home like on the night before Christmas, or on the holidays, or basically in general around this time of year? What traditions does your family have? What do you guys celebrate? Do you guys have anything you guys do occasionally or every year? What do you guys like to do? Let me know in the comments below. And I wish you all a safe, happy holidays wherever you are, and have a good night, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.